Morning, and welcome back to another episode of Iron Sounds Engineering. On today, we're going to be playing with this. This is my 1983 Honda ATC70. She was a bit of a dog when I bought her. I bought her on Big Lizzie's funeral, cruising marketplace like you do, and this came up. It was completely and utterly destroyed. I've had to put new plastics on it, new seat, redo the tank, paint everything, rebuild the engine, everything like that. I really love these things, and I was quite surprised it came up for sale in the UK because they never seem to actually come up for sale. Maybe it's because Honda banned them, but I'm really looking forward to taking this one out and maybe breaking my legs. So after the rebuild that I'd done earlier this year on the ATC70, I took it out for a little ride around the village, and everything was, well, I say everything was great. It worked, but there were just some niggles going on. So some of the things we've got to do, or that we have done recently, is we've beefed up the clutch pedal, because it was just so, it was a Chinese copy clutch pedal, and it was just so thin that when you crunched it into gear, the gear stick would actually, or the gear lever would actually bend. So yeah, I've beefed that up. We've got a leak coming from the engine. Now, obviously I rebuilt the engine, but the problem was I had like a cheap gasket set, and obviously the main paper gasket in the centre of the engine is not great, so it's weeping. So I need to take the engine apart again and actually use mastic as well as a new paper gasket to seal that up. We've got a leak, small leak coming from the carb. But the other thing that was a problem was, because these are obviously designed for kids and adults, kids that never grew up, basically, older man-childs, when you sit on it, your knees are literally here, or my knees are literally here. So I went over a bump and I turned it off. So looking at the American market, I went out and bought these. So I've got handlebar extension kit, or handlebar extensions, so basically they are a lot higher than what the factory ones are, and for that we needed also an extended throttle cable and an extended brake cable as well. So we're going to fit all them, and then we're going to take it for a razz. So we've now got to the stage where all the handlebars and the brake lines, they're all off. So handlebars are off, brake lines out the back, the carb controls out there. So now what we've done was we put the handlebars on, handlebars fit, lovely job. So what we've now got to do though is we've got to take it to work. As you can see here, look, these are the original handlebars, right? We've got this little pin sticking out here to stop the throttle control from spinning round. And they also have a bracket which I had to make up here because someone chopped it off the original handlebars, but they have this bracket here for the brake lever. These handlebars don't have none of them, so I've drilled a hole in there already. So we'll put a little piece of rod and a little piece of 4mm rod in there and weld it up, and we'll make a bracket for this one. And then once we're done with that, we'll put them back on the trike.
A few moments later.
So I got a bit ahead of myself while doing the handlebars and done this. The engine was leaking oil from the main crank, or from the main seal in the middle of the engine. So I thought I'd pull it, take it apart and start doing it again. So this is basically it at the minute, all in pieces. This all around here was where the seal was. It goes here as well. So these two bits made together. The problem was I bought a cheap Chinese gasket. It didn't fit properly, and yeah, it just weren't very happy. So what we've got now is we've got another gasket set. We've also got a new oil seal kit as well. So we're going to replace them because we didn't replace them last time. And yeah, we're going to also like RTV sealant it around there as well for the gasket, and then hopefully it shouldn't leak. But let's put that back together now and then stick it back on the bike, because times are getting close to get out of there.
Alright, so we've got the main engine back together, heads back on, cylinders back on, chains in, it's all timed up. Well, timed up to how I left it anyway, so we'll see if it runs alright. We've got the new oil seals in around the gear shift there, we've got a new oil seal in around the drive shaft there. We've now got to put this O-ring and these other seals onto this sealing plate, what goes here, stops any oil getting out of there. The new little O-rings, as you can see, that oil seal has completely had it. And then we just got to get all this back on, and then we can put it back on the bike and see if she actually starts up. Engine is now completely back together, so now what we've got to do is we're going to have to take her and put her in here, and that's going to be fun when you're on your own, because you basically got to balance the engine in place here, cradle it, and then put one of the bolts through just so it hangs. But obviously that engine is full of jagged edges and horrible bits, so I'm expecting a few cuts and bruises, but let's get her back in. Engine's now back in, all now oiled, ready to go basically, but now what we've got to do is what we initially set out to do, which was put these handlebars on instead of the small handlebars, the original ones, and the extended brake cable and the extended throttle cable, because when I took it for its first test drive, I kept turning it off because my knee kept touching the kill switch, which isn't very good when you're going over bumpy terrain. So to make it more adult, not a kiddie's little thing like it was marketed for, we're going to put some bigger handlebars on it, and that needs the longer cables. So let's crack on doing that. pull cord doesn't fucking brain in.
One eternity later.
Okay, so as you probably saw there, it started, but I had no throttle control and the kill switch wouldn't kill it. The fuel was turned off as well. So what I can only assume has happened is carb's got a leak, that's let fuel into the cylinder, and basically once it started that weren't going to stop unless it didn't have spark no more, so I had to pull the fucking spark plug, the HT lead off it. But yeah, so we're going to have to pull it apart, get to the carb again, and see why we've got no throttle control. You worked when I fucking took it apart!
3 weeks later.
So, quick little update on the ATC70. We pulled the plastics back off, tank back off, to see if we could find what this idling issue was. And the second that the tank and the plastics were disconnected, it idled beautifully. So I thought, oh, okay, it's just a little thing. We'll put it all back together. Just put it all back together, and it had high rev again. But I had throttle control, but it had high revs. I thought, what is going on here? It's like the throttle cable was caught up on something. So I've done a little bit more investigating. Tank came off again, everything came off again. Everything was fine again. And what it turned out to be was this. Now, because I had to adapt the carb to fit on this engine because it's got an electric start, this isn't an original engine. This is a cheap Chinese knockoff engine, but it does the job and it's got an electric start on it. Right, so I rebuilt all this. I've got a C90 engine to rebuild to go on this instead, right, which has got a kickstart, which will be a lot cooler because it is original. It is an original Honda engine, but I had to turn the carb 180 degrees this way so that because the starter motor was in the way of the carb, the factory standard way. And what was happening was this choke lever here was hitting this. So when you put the tank back on, that was opening the carb ever so slightly, which was making it rev a lot higher. So I've just had to shave that down a little bit, just so it misses the tank. It didn't do that to start with though, which is weird. But yeah, let's see if we can get it going now. See what it sounds like. Make sure we're on, kill switch wise. Give that a bit of a pump. Right, so it seems like we still are revving a bit too high, so I'm gonna have to check the timing again. I did check the timing and make sure everything was all right when I put it back together, but these things can obviously slip through the cracks. So I'll have to do that, but I can't do it here, I can't do it soon. I was gonna take it for a little test drive as well, because last time I took it for a ride, it was very fun. But unfortunately, things around here look a lot different to what they used to, because we have got to be out of here in a week's time. So no workshop currently now. Our new house that we've bought has grounds for a workshop and a couple of bits to start with, but I'm gonna have to establish a workshop there. So it might take a little while for projects to get off the ground again. ATC70 though is coming with me to the temporary accommodation, so we should be able to play around with her there and just get some things sorted. So yeah, cheers for watching this episode of Iron Talent Engineering, guys. Like I say, there may be a bit of a break in between some of the others, but I'm enjoying this, so we will get back on it like as soon as possible, because, well, life just doesn't stop, does it? So, alright, anyway, cheers for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again real soon.
12 seconds later.
Okay, so I might have just sorted it. A friend of mine at work told me the other day, because obviously these sort of things are fairly new to me, about the adjusting screw there. So all I did was twist it a little bit, give it less fuel. Higher, lower. Oh dear. But yeah, I think we've sorted that then. Lovely job.